Hey, everybody, I want to welcome back to Desert Sky Mystic. Today, we're going to be doing our chakra reading for Virgo. Now, the way this works is that I use the chakra points, the main 7 chakra points, as kind of our reference, our area to place the cards to see what kind of energies are coming through, what kind of messages that Spirit is trying to get to you today. Now, this is a timeless reading, I guess, is what I'm calling them. That just basically means that regardless of when you're watching this, that this translates for you. So I'm recording in August of 2022, but whenever you find yourself watching this video, that means you're in the right place. Take a look. Hopefully it resonates for you. If it does, make sure to like the video. That really helps us know what messages have landed. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. So having said all that, let's get this overhead cam going and see what messages are trying to get through to you today. Okay, so this first spot is our root chakra, deals with our basic security, food, shelter, moving, roof over our heads, those types of things. We have our sacral chakra, motion, sexuality. We have our solar plexus, which really deals with things about in terms of personal power and the application of personal power. We have our heart chakra, which in this reading will be primarily with all of our relationships. We have our throat chakra, which is how we are communicating and how we are receiving communication. We have our third eye, which is how we are seeing the world. And then we have our crown, which is how the world is seeing us. And I know that the chakras are just a little bit more complicated than that, but for the purposes of our readings, this seems to be a very good format to get some messages delivered. So that's what we'll stick with. So let's go on and get started here. All right, and I don't read reversals. So what we have here is a 6 of Cups, and you're really kind of looking back to the past here. You're looking at the good things in your life, the way that things used to be, the things that made you feel good, very nostalgic, almost like daydreaming about the way things were in the past, and then how they are now. But it's not a negative thing. It's not a positive thing. You feel very like serene and at peace right now. So I feel a real stability here. And I think that derives, or at least the 6 of Cups is pushing that through, as it being derives from, kind of the good experiences. You tap on your good experiences from the past to feel your security and your just kind of stability that you have today. That even when things are going kind of wrong, you kind of tap in and say, yeah, but things are going to get better again. There's always going to be little storms that we have to work through. So I think this is a great energy actually for the root chakra here. Let's see what other things are popping in on this one. Yeah, we have our possibilities, we have our silence card, and on the silence card again, I think this is really. Oh, let me straighten these out a little bit. Sorry about that. The silence card here again, I think is going back in and really tapping into that, and just staying really centered and really balanced, and not letting things knock you off track, not letting the noise of life mess with you, at least in terms of the way that your foundation is. You got a strong foundation which is built on the way that you were raised and the things that you have in your past that have created the person that you are today. And you stay balanced with that. You remember those things. You stay connected to that, and I think is a very healthy way to do it. And what it's really done for you is it keeps you in a state of wonder and understanding that the world is what we're going to make it. A lot of it has to do with our point of view, but there are all kinds of possibilities, and you are always looking for those opportunities. You're looking at the beautiful sunset and the mountains and the beautiful things of life, as opposed to letting the negative things come in and knock you around and getting fixated on those things. So I think that that all stems from this nostalgia, this kind of going back, and the things that kind of again made you into the person you are today. But it's a continual thing. You are always looking for possibilities, which keeps things very fresh and very interesting and very positive for you. All right, let's take a look at kind of our emotions right now. Very nice. You're in a really good place here. You are really enjoying you really enjoying the fruits of the labor of getting here. I don't think this came without work, but overall you're very happy. Emotionally, you have what you want. You feel very emotionally fulfilled. Of course, you see a family here, and that doesn't necessarily mean that the family is what does it for you, but overall, the things that make you happy, the things that make you feel stable, the things that keep you from being anxious and get worked up over things that you don't need to get worked up. Those it's all right here. You're in a very, very, very good spot right now. Maybe we'll see more into the rest of this reading. I do get the sense because a lot of us have to do this work, but that this wasn't just given to you. I do think that a lot of this stems from, kind of the foundation that you're on. It makes this a lot easier to maintain. But as of right now, you're just in a really good place. Yeah, so we do actually have the isolation card, which I think reinforces kind of the idea that once again, and again, this is, I mean, obviously we're going to have ups and downs throughout our life, and I do think we're in a really good place now. I do think that you were kind of stuck on some things there, that maybe things weren't as easy for you. You felt stuck, you felt like you weren't moving forward. There's some emotions there that you're working out, but as you're trying to thaw that out, as you're tapping into who you are and the way that you want to be in life and keeping your outlook positive instead of negative, you started to get this ice to thaw and freed up. And I think you're very successful with it, obviously, because again, you are in a good place. And I do think that's something to celebrate. I think that's a skill set to be able to pull yourself out of the times that we are down, because it's always going to happen. They're going to come and go. But keeping that positive outlook and maintaining that mindset is going to be the key for you to move through this stuff. And I think you actually move through this stuff a little quicker than a lot of other people do, just because, once again, you have a great foundation to rely on. And once we're there and once we figure those things out, it's a lot easier to kind of work ourselves back into that place and to recognize the things that are getting us down. Okay, confidence wise, it's this is the Two of Pentacles, and traditionally, this is talking about juggling some things, and I think there is some juggling going on here. But I almost get the sense it's more of you figured out a good way for you, a unique way, something that works for you, specific to you, to kind of balance, not only juggle, but balance in a very graceful kind of way, the material side of life and the spiritual side of life, or the things that are non-materialistic. If spiritual, the word spiritual isn't the good word for you. But money isn't everything. Material things in life aren't everything, but I do think that there's a place for them. And you have found a very unique, graceful way of balancing and juggling those two things that really help, once again, reinforce this strong stability and this really positive emotional state that you find yourself in and find yourself having the ability to get to. So what else we got? Yeah, and I think the Two of Pentacles here is really tied to, that your ability to kind of juggle that in your own way is really because you do go with the flow. You do take these waves as they come. You understand that there's going to be ebbs and flows, ups and downs, good times, bad times. And, to reinforce that, we have the projections card, which in this particular reading, I'm really getting is just you see things the way they are. The projection card itself is really about kind of understanding kind of the fronts that we put up as people, and that oftentimes what we're seeing is not the real person. We have to kind of dig deeper to get to the real person. But in this particular deal, I think this is just your overall perspective in life, is that you recognize that things aren't always the way that they seem, and that you recognize and you're able to see things for the way that they really are, which really helps. You're not even judgmental about any of this stuff. You're just you just see things for what they are and you accept them for what they are and you really stay in the present. You don't get caught up with hanging out in the past a whole bunch. So I think overall, once again, self-confidence here is in a really good place. You're feeling good. Things are moving in a good direction. Right now we're on an uptick, and you are just riding this out and enjoying life right now, enjoying where you're at. Yeah. Okay. Heart chakra really has to do with our relationships, all kinds of relationships. And in this particular one, I really get the sense that part of this success is because you have been so good at recognizing, just like that projections card that was just here, recognizing the people in your life that you need to let go of, and that means friends, family, coworkers, people that are just toxic in your life, and you're not getting stuck in that trap of where, the blood is thicker than water, their family, I have to deal with this. No, you're just, if these guys are toxic, if these guys are not good for me, if these people are doing things that do not put me in a good place, I just have no need for them. And I need to release them and let them live. You have no problems with them and no real judgments with them outside of you're just not going to expose yourself to that, and you're just keeping your area, your life, your energy clean. You're saying, listen, if all you're going to bring to the table is stuff that brings me down and everybody else around me down, then there is no purpose for you in my life right now. Go work this out, go clean this up, and I would love to have you back in it. But right now, you're not a good fit for where I'm at, and we need to go our separate ways for a little bit, whoever that may be for you in your life. That's a very mature way to think about things in your relationships. And I know that it's a lot tougher said or done than actual said, but I don't think for you at this particular time in your life, given everything else that I am seeing here, that this is really that big of an issue for you. Again, I think it probably is contributing to the idea that you have such a great grasp over the balance in your life right now, how you're actually feeling. And then you can still, again, even with these people, you can still remember the good times, take the positive stuff, and get rid of the other stuff. We don't have to hold on to that negativity. Just because somebody's in a bad place right now, maybe they're not treating you so well, doesn't mean you don't have good memories, doesn't mean you can't hold on to those, doesn't mean you can't appreciate them for who they were at that point in time and what they did for you and all of that. It just means that right now it's not a good place for them to be around you, and you are being very successful in the people you choose to be around. Let's look at some other cards here and see. Yeah, and I think that this has been a slow process for. I think it took you a while to kind of figure this out. We have the slowing down card. I think you did have to stab at, well, slowing down and courage. These are both cards of pacing and slow movements and really pushing through. But I'll just go through each one here. So what we have here is this turtle or this tortoise is kind of looking out over the pond and really surveying the land and looking at what all out here. Is this going to be a good place for me to go into? Are there going to be dangers here? And based on the colors of the pond, I would say no, but you're still taking your time. You're still making very responsible decisions about the paths that you take and the places that you go. And I think that is directly tied in with this ability to release these people. But again, this hasn't been something that's just been an overnight deal. We have the courage card here as well. And this is a long, slow journey that you've kind of had to push through to get to this place. And really, the card itself kind of talks about a seed being stuck down here in the bottom of the wall where it's dark and it's moist, just enough to keep it alive, but not really thriving. And the seed itself has a decision to make. And the decision is, okay, do I stay like this and just pretty much die? Or do I push through all of these areas where I don't know what's happening? I don't know what's there. I don't know what lies ahead. That's scary. But do I do that and live to my full potential, or do I just sit here and cower where I'm at? So that's where the courage part of this comes through. The seed does push through. It works its way through all these cracks and working itself up to the sunlight. When it gets to the sunlight, it is able to really be live up to its full potential. And I really believe that part of this releasing is about you living up to your full potential. And I do think that this is something you have considered very carefully and you have really evaluated this and it's really thought through. And, the moves that you do make are slow, they're calculated, and they're for, the benefit and the health of you and the people that you care about, your family, the people that are around you. So overall, I think, your approach on the relationships has been extremely helpful for you as you move forward on your path. Yeah, I think so we're at our throat chakra here is the way that we are communicating, the way that we are receiving communications. And again, kind of tying into this, the heart chakra side of things too, is that I don't think that this was obviously a just a very natural thing. I think that different things happen. The way that you're communicating about this was strong and powerful, and you have been very clear with the people around you what you will accept, what you won't accept, those types of boundaries and so forth. But I think it was strong too. So I think there's been kind of back to this balancing act. You've tried to had to figure out how do I communicate to people what my boundaries are, what I will tolerate, what I will not tolerate, in such a way that is not painful for them in terms of just being outright mean or too harsh. Because sometimes we can say, okay, that we're not going to deal with this anymore. This is it. This is the line in the sand. And the way that we communicate that is just listen, this is the line in the sand. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, you're not welcome over here. And sometimes some of that can be harsh. And really, what I think the balance you have found here with the Chariot card and you're pushing forward and advancing is a way to communicate with love that people understand that maybe they're not happy about, maybe they're sad about, but at the same time, they get it and they respect you and they appreciate the way that that communication has come across. And I think the communication coming back in for you, I think there's also been some of that same deal, some of the reactions, some of the ways that, you've tried to had to muddle through here. I think maybe sometimes when you're receiving communications from people, kind of in the past and then through the situation that, you're currently in, that sometimes perhaps you were tender and sometimes you were taking some of that stuff as an offense. But part of your growth in your journey here, especially as this has developed, has also been understanding that, yes, I need to understand where I am at and that actually does that does affect that does I can't my vocabulary is falling short on me here, but the way that I'm receiving that communication is clouded based on the way that I'm feeling right now. But I think again with the balance you've been able to figure out a way to receive that communication, take it for what it is, and leave the kind of the feelings and the offense behind, which has really allowed you to make great strides here as you move forward. Um, Yeah, and this has caused, some angst and some anxiety for you in the past for sure. I mean, you got the guilt card, and it could literally be guilt. Those communications are very difficult, especially with people that you care about, people that you care about and love and want to be around, but they're not the best of people to be around right now. Having those communications, that's tough. You don't want to hurt them. You don't want to make them feel bad. You don't want to make them feel guilty, but you have had to again create those boundaries and I think We Are the World kind of speaks to that as well. I mean this I mean the way that I'm reading this with this particular deal, I just see all these people, the people in your life, but I also get like this real boundary energy with this card at this point in time to where I don't know if it's the joined hands or whatever it is, but it really getting this okay boundaries with the friends and the family and the people that are in your life, but expressing those and trying to communicate those, especially if you kind of like went too aggressive and got into the situations we were talking about up here, in terms of saying things in such a way where they were really hurt at first. obviously it would cause you guilt. You would get in your own head about it. It'd bother you on both ends because you know you needed to set those boundaries. At the same time, you're not really interested in hurting those people as well. So that's kind of a tricky thing to work through and work out. But again, I think overall you're successful with it. And every time you get knocked down, you get up and you keep moving ahead. And this is a Chariot's also a card of success. So I think that in terms of that, you've worked through this as well, very in a very positive manner overall. Okay, the way that we are seeing the world. So, there's something different that you wanted in your life. There was you weren't there. You said, "Hey, listen, this is what my life is like right now. I'm not really happy with my life, but I'm going to take responsibility for this, and I am going to do the things I need to do to take control and move my life and move where I'm at to where I want to be," which is where the Five of Wands card comes in. And this is really kind of a card for me, a card of like training and working on stuff and moving forward, and it's difficult. There's a lot of things going on, and there's challenges. But again, I think this is part of the growth pattern here, and that's really where you're kind of how you're seeing the world right now is that this is a training ground, that you are moving towards something better. And that all the lessons that you learn, all the things you experience, every time you run into situations where you have to figure out how to release or how to communicate or how to balance or how to just be in the moment and enjoy, where you're at and the successes and the way that you feel about things. Those are all lessons for you. You're looking at those and like, okay, now I know how to do this better as I move forward. It's going to give me the ability to get back to where I want to be quicker. So again, very, very positive outlook on the world, the way that you see the world, which makes perfect sense because all of this is mindset to me. It's all the way that you look at the world. I mean, any given situation, no matter, it's the half glass full, half glass empty scenario here. And for you, you are really in the half glass full mode right now. See what else we got here. Yep. And again, this is really about relieving your burdens, getting the things that you know they're a monkey on your back, the things that you don't want to be dealing with, the things that are heavy, the weight on your shoulders, and being pulled in directions you don't want to be pulled in. It's about shedding all of that stuff off ultimately and running more of your own energy and being who you are, and not being controlled by these negative things that have maybe messed with you more so in the past. You're really trying to work through that and and move to a place to where that's kind of monkeys off your back. Right now, we're always going to deal with stuff. I'm not saying that, but these long-term hauls to where we can't, something attaches to us and latches to us and this other people's energy and trying to control us and these negative things, finding out what those strategies are for yourself through training and through experience and finding out what works, what doesn't work, and adjusting where we need to. Figuring out the best ways to move through this stuff as quick as possible and get rid of these burdens in life. And usually that just means ultimately means shedding other people's energy and getting back to running more of our own energy and being more who we are, as opposed to letting these other people, which you are letting go right now very successfully, letting them kind of run your life or put you in situations or put energy into your situations that is not what you want. And you're successful. You're doing a great job. You really have a command of this. There's a lot to celebrate here. I mean, you have so many things dialed in, and it's almost like, okay, what's the next thing can I dial it in? Because I'm not seeing these huge, oh, life-shattering type things happening for you right now. It's like almost like everything you're putting into place is to avoid another life-shattering deal, and you're really dialing in. You have a really clear idea of who you want to be, and right now you're just dialing that in, and you're finding new strategies and new ways to do that. And again, very successful at that. So keep up the great work on that front. This the crown chakra here, the placement here really speaks to how the world sees you, the projection that you are giving off. And I got to tell you, the Nine of Cups is a card of contentment, of happiness. You are where you want to be. You know, you're surrounded by riches, and I'm not talking about monetary riches, just you have a richness in your life. And people are seeing this. You know, although, you know, maybe some of these people are some of the people that you've had to have some tough conversations with or release some of those, it's really paying off for you. You know, people can tell, they can see how much happy you are. And I think in that respect as well, I'm really getting that sense too that this is a lesson for the people looking at you and the way that you're handling things, and again, serving as an inspiration for them as well. I got a similar energy in a different reading, but this is really coming through strong here. That especially as we, you know, with the Ten of Cups and the Six of Cups, and I mean the releasing and the moving forward, and I mean the really having a grasp, in my opinion, of, you know, having those balanced out in a very active way that is always moving. I mean, overall, people are seeing you and they are saying, "Wow, this person is in an amazing place right now." And I think that has not always been the case. Um, yeah, as I say that, you get the morality card. So what's funny about that is the morality card is really speaks to the idea that you are just going through the motion, that you're playing by a set of rules that doesn't serve your best and highest purpose, doesn't really do good things for you, but you do it anyway because that's the way you've always done it, or that's what the expectations of you are. You know, I always use religion as a great example of this, and not bagging on religion. I'm just saying there are some religions where people can find themselves not really potentially believing in all the tenets of the religion, or any of it perhaps, and but they still go, their services, they still, you know, go through all of the motions of being involved in that religion, a lot of times basically because that's how they are brought up. Perhaps they're in a family now to where that's very important, but you know, if you're really being honest with yourself, it doesn't serve you. And so it's really kind of breaking free from that and releasing that, setting your boundaries and communicating, and really just finding out who you are and taking yourself to that point. So again, this morality card kicks up, you know, kind of as one of those things that you've really had to deal with. You know, and I was saying kind of before we got here that I think this has been a work in progress, and you're a really, really good place now, but it hasn't been without the work. And this is what I think you were kind of you know, pulling out of or breaking free from, whatever that was for you. Now, the other thing on this is I think that there was a moment where you knew that you couldn't do this anymore, that something had to change. And I think that's where you really started kind of tapping into this energy and saying, well, wait a minute, you know, I was happy here, or I remember this, or whatever that was, because we have the rightness card, which is a card of timing. And this one really speaks to, again, if you've picked the fruit too early, it's no good. If you wait too long, it's no good. So it's, you know, when the time is right, the fruit falls very naturally. And, you know, for you, I think that's the way this really kind of popped in, is that all of this started when this had to be over and a decision was made, and it was the perfect time for you. Everything lined up, just like it always does. If we're really being honest, things happen the way they're supposed to, and it has moved you into this very, very positive point that you're in right now. So very, very nice reading. Very nice reading, actually. Gosh, I really like all those cards for you right now. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. I mean, I don't know how, what else I can say, or how much, you know, I can't even improve on this reading for you. I mean, it's such a graceful way to be, the way that I'm looking at all this. I mean, I mean, it's what we all wish we could actually do. So, you know, great job. Keep it up. Yeah, so listen, hey, if this video or any components of it resonate with you, do me a favor, like the video. I'd love to see, how this lands for people. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, leave those in the comment box below. That's helpful as well. And then, as always, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Help us out. We'd love to have you, and those subscribes, again, help us out quite a bit. So that is what I have for your reading. And I guess we will just see you next time.